Okay, guys, so here we are with another weekly review of Katekyo Hitman Reborn, and we're at chapter 68. As we know from last chapter, between Yamamoto and Ken, Yamamoto was the victor at the end of the chapter after Ken sunk his teeth into Yamamoto's arm. Mind you, remember, Yamamoto is a baseball player. He's not a pro, but he takes baseball very seriously, and he sacrificed his own arm to protect Suna, and he bashed Ken in the head with the handle of his broken sword bat. We don't question anime and manga logic at this point, okay? You just never do. Don't apply real life logic to it, okay? So in this chapter, the beginning of it, they wrap it up and everything. Suna's worrying like, man, if only I didn't was frozen in that moment in fear, Yamamoto wouldn't have got as injured as he did, because remember, again, at the end of the day, Yamamoto loves baseball, and then they also mentioned in the previous chapter 67 that a month or two later there is some baseball competition. So the fact that he had to sacrifice his good playing arm to protect Suna, it's eating him up, okay? So when we think that Ken is really down for the count, no, he's actually very much up and awake. Yes, tied up, still stuck in the sunken building in that little tunnel, that little hole down there. But he used a possum ability to pretend to sleep or pretend to die, because possums do that to protect themselves from predators or something. Pretend to die and then wake up when the coast is clear. And so while that's happening, he's telling them, you guys stand no chance against Mukuro. He's going to kill y'all. So and so and so and so. And then we have where it was like probably the funniest moment of the chapter. We have where the, how you say, the Gokudera siblings, technically we never got Bianchi's last name. If I really truly think about it, we never got Bianchi's last name. I wonder if she has the same last name as Gokudera, because they do both have two different mothers but the same father. So that's probably not great points, but the siblings of the series, Gokudera, Hayato, and Bianchi, they're looking at him like, man, if you don't shut up. And I realized, and I think I mentioned in the previous video 67, in the same episode that this chapter was adapted into, episode 21, they omitted the scene where Bianchi took up like a miniature boulder, like around this size, and dropped it on Ken's head. I don't know why they completely omitted that, why they censored that out. That was actually one of the most hilarious things. I did not know that, like, for her to like, yo, be quiet, we don't want to hear you keep talking. She took up a boulder and dropped it out there, and it silenced him. He's not dead, but that was just completely hilarious. And they're like, Suna's like, yo, she's dangerous. She's dangerous. She tried to murder this man with a boulder. Even Goku is like, yo, why is she so dangerous? I mean, like, that's your sister. How do you know she's not dangerous? You suffered by her hand. It was completely hilarious. And so they come to find out that the same Mukuro Rokudo that they saw the picture of when he was when you get arrested and everything, and they had to take pictures with those lines behind you with Ken and Shikusa. As we know, that's not Mukuro. That's not Mukuro at all. We know who Mukuro is. He has dual color eyes, and it's going to be a running gag in the series just ahead of time. His hair is kind of shaped like a pineapple. It's shaped like a pineapple, but that's who Mukuro is. The person that's in the picture is an impersonator to hide the real Mukuro Rokudo. So we go on to where Chikusa is now recuperating, right? And we have a Mukuro, the real one, called backup, okay? So the people that was in there is the fake Mukuro Rokudo. There's a character named MM, and there's two creepy scarecrow looking twins, and there's another creepy guy that has birds. Mind you, pay attention to the birds. they are attached to a certain character in this series. If you're new to reading Katekyo, they're attached to a certain character that he's going to always have this bird around him all the time. So those are his recruitments that he called in as reinforcements to come and, you know, fight off the Vongola and get to Suna, the soon-to-be 10th boss of the Vongola family, right? So this chapter really is, because the chapter is called MM versus Bianchi. So obviously, you know, right then and there, right after the battle with Yamamoto, the conclusion of Yamamoto versus Ken, we now have another battle where it's Bianchi versus MM. Now, one thing I can say is I can understand why a lot of people in the entire fandom of Katekyo do not like MM, but it's not like you saw her as much to be like greatly annoyed by her. So as they're all trying to get closer to the hideout and then confront the fake Mukuro Rokuro, right? Suna's suggesting idea is like, you know, the fear and everything is getting to me, is getting really hard to walk. Let's just take like a 10-minute break. Let's go eat something, okay? Just to recuperate our strength and just try to re-strategize everything that's going on, and so that I'm not so afraid about what's about to go down. Because out of all of them, the entire group, Suna's the only one who can defend himself. He doesn't have no fighting skills. He's not athletic. We all know who Suna is in this story currently up until this point, right? He can't do much versus everybody else in the group, right? So while they're all about to go sit down and go eat, and then, you know, Yamamoto came in with the good food, Bianchi came in with the food that will kill you just by sniffing it, the entire food explodes, right? And it wasn't due to Bianchi. Bianchi didn't do nothing, right? Except for bringing really bad food, again, that can either send you to the hospital or kill you right then and there if you so much as sniff it. So the food explodes, and then when that happens, everything around them is exploding at the same time. So they all have to run and take cover, and they're wondering, what the heck, who's attacking us right now? Come to find out, it's MM. Her ability is she has a clarinet, and by playing a tune or blowing into it, she can send out kind of like almost radioactive sonic waves to her opponent. And to just kind of summarize it in the best of my ability is that when she plays it, the sound that emits out of it sends radioactive waves like a microwave, right? And the more sound she produces and the more waves of that microwave or radioactive wave that's coming towards a person, it causes them to boil the atoms in the air or whatever object she's targeting towards, for the atoms in it to collide, grow bigger to the point that they pop, they go boom, like an explosion, right? So while her doing that, that's the reason why Bianchi's food exploded like that, because the atoms in there were all gathering, bubbling, just like think of like the molecules and all that stuff, like when water is boiling, okay? But think of it as very radioactive, like the atoms in a microwave just all coming together fast, boiling, little dots and everything just boiling together so much to the point where the microwave will probably explode due to how much radioactivity is being condensed in that small space. Okay, but in this case, they're out in the open, so it's probably a little bit more dangerous, okay? Anything can be a target. So that's why we have the MM and Bianchi. Now, probably I'm looking too much into it, and probably it wasn't that serious because, again, like I said, MM doesn't show that much in the series. She shows in this arc, then she makes a brief appearance in the third arc, which is the 10 years arc, and I think she may have showed in the last arc of the series, just even more briefly than the 10-year arc. But I can understand why people don't like MM's character, because all she does anytime she comes on screen, she's always talking about money. Okay, but one thing I probably, and again, like I said, it's probably not that serious and I'm probably looking too much into it, but the difference between Bianchi and MM puts value in monetary value, things that she can see and gain traction from, things that will pay off, and she sees it paying off, aka money, whether it be digitally or physically, something that is tangible, okay? Because the thing is, when they were having a fight, while MM says love is money, for Bianchi, love is love. Like, how I'm so strong is because of love. Remember, at the end of the day, if you guys forgot, she does love Reborn, despite Reborn looking like an infant or a cartoonish version of an infant. She does love Reborn. Okay, so for her to be the strongest version of herself is through love, which MM is like, you make no sense. And I'm wondering if it's due, and I guess Akira Mano never really put thought into this, but the way that MM puts so much emphasis on monetary value, because it's not abstract, it's, like I said, tangible. It's something very real, something you can actually touch. Okay, something that you can actually see, versus love, which is abstract. It's due to feelings and emotions, something you can't really pinpoint, even with science behind it or anything. It's not something that can be truly pinpointed on, so it's not something that can be truly trusted. Okay, versus things that we can see, versus things that we can't see. And it probably ties into, probably, we never got her backstory, but given the fact that she is outlaw in the mafia world, and she's willing to do anything as long as someone pays her good, because the reason why she likes Mukuro so much is because he pays her really well. Okay, versus Bianchi, who grew up in a very affluent family. Okay, she has a father that's probably a multi-millionaire. Okay, because we saw a background of her and Gokudera during when she was first introduced, along with Gokudera in their introductory arcs and introduction chapters. And we saw they grew up in a very fancy house and everything. They were well off. So for her, money was never a problem. She doesn't even go looking for money because she has it, right? She just decided to become an assassin on the side. Okay, but she was doing so because she was in love. She's in love with Reborn, hence why the profession she decides to be involved in, and also probably maybe due to the connections their father has. But for MM being a prisoner for mafia and everything, you could probably assume life was pretty hard for her, you know? And the only way life can be better is if she has enough money in the bank to live an affluent life, whatever she wants to do with it. So it's almost like this battle, despite it being very short, it ended by the end of this chapter being very short. I think it was like the battle of more so value. It was the battle of what each character does value, what each character wants to represent in their life, what they care about the most, because they are contradictory with each other. And at the end of the day, they prove that, you know, love wins overall, because when Bianchi looked like she would have lost, because MM is kind of proficient in combat, you know, close range combat, because her clarinet not only can produce sound, but it can turn into nunchucks, and she could swing and hit somebody. And when she thought she won the fight with Bianchi after leaving a devastating blow to her head, no, the whole clarinet started to explode with poisonous cooking. Okay, and then she gets knocked out, and you would have thought, how was that possible? But the minute the food touches even a little bit, it can start to grow almost like fungus. And the only reason why Bianchi went the way she did against MM was to protect Reborn during his nap. He was literally taking a nap close range to when Bianchi and MM were starting to have their fight. So probably it's not the most epic fight out of all the fights, okay? But it just, like I said, it was probably more of the battle of values for both of these characters, more so than you know, like an impact, you know, duking it out, getting blood all over the place, biting people, needles in the chest. It is nothing like that. It was more so battle of the values between these two characters, what they uphold most to themselves. One with money, something that is physical, tangible, that can be seen, versus something that's more abstract. Love for love, something that's abstract, something that you could possibly only feel and hope that it could attach to something tangible. That's basically it for these two characters. And then by the end of the chapter, we have a new character ready to attack the Vongola group, and he's probably the creepiest character in this entire series. Okay, he's a creep. He is a creep, and he's like you know, I would say if you guys don't stop, something is going to happen to your two friends. And he has a freaking laptop showing that he's surveilling Kyoko and Haru. Okay, mind you, Kyoko and Haru are just basically your normal citizens that just got tied up in Suna's shenanigans on his way to becoming a Mongola boss. Mind you, Kyoko's the girl that Suna has a major crush on, and then Haru got involved due to her first liking Reborn, you know, because he's a baby, he's a cute baby, and then she eventually starts falling for Suna after a while. So that's how they got it tangled up with Suna, and now they have to worry about how can they protect basically these civilians from possibly dying by one of the many assassins that Mukuro has hired. Okay, so that's basically it for chapter 68. Guys, do tell me your interpretation of Bianchi and MM's fight. What do you think about their fight? If you are someone who's been reading Reborn or watching the anime, what were some differences you saw between this chapter 68, versus episode, I believe it was episode 21 and 22 of this fight? And what were some things you were able to take away from it? What's your interpretation about this fight between, despite it being a very short fight and was concluded basically in half of a chapter? What do you think about this fight now you revisit it again between Bianchi and MM? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. The links are in the description box, guys. And I'm Kimmy-chan of Anime Legends. I will see you guys later. Bye! With